Hey, what's going on, guys? Okay, so before you is a small arsenal of equipment and some of my personal favorite items. And basically, this is to cover a topic that I see every day, and it's been coming up a lot on my Facebook group, and so I wanted to kind of cover it a little bit. This might make some people mad, some people might disagree, but you know, that's just the way it is. I mean, we all have our opinions, we all have our thoughts, and who's to say who's right or wrong? So let's get into it. If you hear anything in the background, my kids squealing or, you know, having a good old time or anything like that, it's part of it. Like I said, I never edit my daughter out. She's up there having fun, so she's going to be in the video. So the topic is, what is the best? And that is not limited to knives or anything like that. What is the best gear? Why is it the best? Why is it not the best? So let's take a look at this stuff and talk about what is the best. Okay, so like I said, it's not limited to just knives or anything like that. So I've got a variety of gear here, and we're just going to go over it and talk about what is the best and what isn't the best. Now, already most of you guys are sitting there thinking to yourselves, well, Justin, you always say that there is no such thing as the best or anything like that. And you know what? You're absolutely right. What is the best for me may not be the best for you or anybody else. So in my opinion, there is no such thing as this is better than this because it does this, and this is better than this because it doesn't do this, or it does do this. If this is what you like, that's better for you. If this is what somebody likes, then that's better for them. So let's talk about like these two packs right here, okay? I have here an old Alice pack, an old medium Alice pack. I've had this thing all of my adult life, as well as 80% of my childhood. This thing is still going strong. There is no rips or tears in this thing to speak of, and it is just worn. I mean, it's faded, it stinks, but you know what? This thing has served a lifetime with me, and I will never get rid of this pack. I love this thing. You know, on the flip side of that, this is the one that I've been carrying lately, and that's just a Condor. It's like, I think it's a 3-day assault pack. I don't know. Got this one for Christmas this last year, and I like it. It's a nice pack. It's very comfortable. Does it make it better than the Alice pack? No, not at all. Excuse the dogs in the background. Okay, so sorry about that. The dogs decided to interrupt us. But like I was saying, is this one better than that one? No, it's just a matter of preference. I mean, each one has different things and qualities about it that make it different than the next. Some people like that big, wide, open space. Some people like pockets. If you like pockets, you're going to love this pack because it's got a pocket for everything. If you like a big, wide, open space with minimal pockets, then an Alice pack, you're going to love it. The Alice pack's lighter, but it doesn't have as many pockets. I don't really care. I mean, pockets, you tend to put things in and you lose them or forget that they're there. But, you know, like I said, experiment. Just because this one's a Condor and this is an Alice, or this is made out of this and this is made out of that, it doesn't necessarily make it better. It just makes it better for you or better for your checkbook, okay? And that's a big one, the cost, okay? That Alice pack, I can find those for 10 bucks, okay? This, I think it was like $60, $70, something like that. So, which can you afford? You know, which can you afford to carry? So, what about materials? Okay, everybody talks about wool, everybody talks about synthetics, which is the better, which isn't the best. Okay, I mean, you got wool, okay, everybody knows that if sopping wet, it maintains 60% of its insulation value, doesn't, it's naturally flame retardant, so if a spark or something hits it, it smolders out and doesn't catch on fire or anything like that. It's heavy and it's bulky, as compared to, say, like a pair of polypros or something like that. These polypros are also very, very good at maintaining your body temperature, and they also whisk moisture away just like wool. Difference is you get a spark or something like that on these, it tends to melt. These things will melt in your dryer, okay, if you put them in your dryer. So I mean, you got trade-offs, with both of them. This one weighs less than wool, but it's not necessarily flame retardant. It melts, So again, both of these items have their qualities, both have their downfalls, and both have their cons. It does not make one better than the other one. It's just a matter of your personal preference. I use both. I like wool. I also like some synthetics. I do tend to lean more towards wool, just because it's just my personal preference, like I said. This will dry out faster than this if they get wet. This will probably last longer than wool. Wool, tends to break down very fast, but like I said, there's cons and there's pros to everything, every item. Alright, so what about fire? Okay, everybody has their idea of what's the perfect way to start a fire. Is a magnification card the best? You bet. I mean, in my opinion, it is the best, because I'm taking a natural renewable resource in combination with another natural renewable resource such as charred punk wood, and I'm effectively making a fire without using any of my resources. But is this worth a crap or efficient at all if there's no sun, if it's dark, if it's an overcast, if it's raining, if you're in the shade? No, it's null and void. You might as well throw it away, because it's, at that point, it's nothing more than a piece of plastic. And you're going to have to move on to, something like ferro striker or ferro rod or something like that, okay? And you're going to have to effectively throw sparks into a tinder bundle, or something like that to effectively make a fire. Now, let's say that it just got done raining, or it is raining. At that point, is this really good, a really good option? No, not really, because everything's wet, everything's damp or whatever. So maybe you have to move on to a lighter at that point. And that's another good point. Which of these lighters is better? A Zippo or a Bic? Both have pros, both have cons. This is a little bit more windproof. This one, isn't. This one will light whenever it's extremely cold outside. This one you have to warm up in your hands, shake up a little bit in order to get it to light. Both of them are going to run out of fuel at a dime's notice. One day you're going to use this and you're going to try to spark it and it ain't going to work. Same with this one. I mean, someday you're going to go to light it and it's not going to light. So, which is better? Give or take, personal preference. Everything is personal preference. So, raining and everything else, you're going to need some sort of surefire. Okay, this is the Mini Inferno. Everybody knows it. Everybody loves it, apparently. Is there a better surefire out there? Bet you. Let's just say, yeah, there is. Is it better for everybody? No. I make my own, and most of you guys have seen mine. But everybody has their own version of surefire, and if that's what they like, that's what's better. What is in your hand is the best thing available. Let's talk about flint and steel. this steel striker any better than this custom one that one of you guys made for me? Is one actually better than the other one? No. This one has more sentimental value to me than this one, but they both throw sparks, and that's what's important. Now, one of the biggest ones that I am actually guilty of myself is char cloth and charred punk wood. I'm sitting here and I'm preaching about one thing is not better than the next, and yet I always say that charred punk wood is far superior than char cloth, and I'll never back down from that. But there's a big but here. Some people have very limited practice with flint and steel, okay? Char cloth most of the time will take a spark a little bit easier than charred punk wood, or some people are a little confused on how to make charred punk wood. There's 10,000 videos on YouTube about char cloth. I probably have more videos up on YouTube than anybody else when it comes to charred punk wood because, like I said, I think it's far superior. But is one better than the other one? In my opinion, yes, but for some people, no. They may not have the experience with this rather than the char cloth. And that, in their opinion, will make it superior to them because they don't have the experience. Alright, so what about cordage? Everybody has their opinions on cordage. You know, 550 paracord, bank line. Which is better? Again, both have pros, both have cons. This stuff will hold a tank. This stuff, not so much. It's still very, very strong. Don't get me wrong. This stuff is very, very strong. I use this stuff for trapping, okay? This stuff is strong. You know, example, I just said trapping. If you try to use this stuff for trapping, those that have used it and tied knots in it and stuff, you'll find that it slips. You know, it does not hold a knot very well unless you soak it in water first or something like that. Personal preferences, I always go with bank line over paracord, but again, it doesn't necessarily make this one better than this one. It just makes it better in the application that I'm using it for at the time. You can effectively do both things with this cordage. Like I said, just personal preference, what you have on you or anything like that. This stuff is expensive in comparison to this stuff. I mean, this is a brand new roll, and it is 249 feet. Okay, I think I got that for just a couple bucks. Paracord, you're usually looking at 10 cents a foot. So big price difference. So okay, now this is the most heated topic I've ever seen in my entire life. What is the best knife? What isn't the best knife? What's junk? What's good steel? What's bad steel? What's this? What's that? And what's the best thickness and all that nonsense? What's the best grinds? Oh boy, where to get me started? You've heard it 1,000 times. No knife will perform every single task. That's why we carry multiple knives or multiple tools, okay? Everybody's talking about the one tool option. Guys, there is no such thing as the one tool option. Yes, I have a video on the one tool option, and that would be my choice if I had to choose a one tool option. That's a big giant if. If I was forced into this situation, you guys know what mine would be. Do I believe that that is the one tool above all tools and no other tool compares to it? Absolutely not. That is not what I'm saying at all. No tool does everything. If they had that one tool that did everything, I wouldn't have any of this. I wouldn't have any need for it. I would cash in, I would have a nice little payday, and I'd go to Disneyland. So, let's talk about small knives, okay? Some people prefer carrying small knives as an EDC. Not everybody has the luxury, such as myself, as being able to carry a medium-sized knife to work and everything else. So some people are forced to carry smaller tools. This is my all-time favorite folding knife. This is my Benchmade McHenry & Williams. I've had this thing for Well, let's see. I've had this since Christmas. I think I've had this since 1998, 1999, and this thing is seen a lot of use and abuse, and it is still just razor sharp because I maintain it. I take care of it. For some, that's still considered a little bulky to be inside their pocket, so a lot of people go with, you know, a smaller knife like this Kershaw Wild Turkey. Again, it's just personal preference. It doesn't. Neither one of these is better than the other one. It's just personal preference. I guarantee this costs a heck of a lot more than this. When I bought this knife, it cost $120. I think this one's, you know, around the $30 mark. I could be wrong, but you know, some people don't choose to have anything in their pocket. Some people choose to have a multi-tool. Is this superior over these two? Sure. I mean, how is it not? I mean, you got tools galore on this thing. Again, it's personal preference, though. I mean, just because I think this is superior to these two knives, another person may not. Some people don't like to have anything on their belt or in their pockets. Some people like to have a neck knife, you know, such as this little Mora. It's a fixed blade knife. It's, you know, it's also a good choice for a small knife. Personal preference. Okay, so moving on from the small knives, what about a medium-sized knife? Some people, such as myself, are fortunate enough that we can carry a medium-sized knife with us all the time, depending on our local laws. My local law says that I can carry a knife, concealed or non-concealed, up to 4 inches long. So if it's concealed, it's no big deal. As long as it's under 4 inches, whether it be folding or fixed, I can carry that knife. Anything beyond 4 inches, I have to have it out in the open. You walk into a Walmart with a 15-inch machete or something like that strapped to your side, guaranteed people are going to look at you strange. It's legal, but people are definitely going to question why you have it. So medium knives are a good choice for EDC. Which of these knives is better? I mean, I have a wide variety of knives here, and each have a different, you know, mark as far as price go. You know, the most expensive one here are the Pathfinder 2, or the PLS K2, or the Fall Niven, you know, F1. Both of those have a pretty good hefty price tag on them. Which one is better, you know? Just depends. I mean, both steels are completely different. You know, I mean, this one's not going to stain where this one stains, if that means anything to you. Both maintain a fantastic edge and both rehome really good. It's just, it's personal preference, guys. Both grinds are completely different. Both are about the same size. Both are roughly the same thickness when it comes to the 3/16. Handles are different, though. You know, sheaths are different. I can cut with this one. I can cut with this one. I can scrape with this one. I can scrape with this one. I mean, it's just like I said. It's all personal preference. Do I have to spend $160 on that knife, or $160 all the way up to $260 on this one? No, I don't. I can choose, you know, to go into a medium price range at that point, and I can go to a, you know, this Condor bush lore, which this thing is awesome. I just actually got this a couple days ago, and I've been toying with the notion of getting one of these, but I haven't, just because of that first run that they had. It was a 1/4 inch thick and the grind was poor, and I heard nothing but bad reviews on this thing. So I put it off and I put it off, and then they finally came out with a second run, and I heard nothing but great reviews. So I kicked it around, finally made a trade got this one, have another one, you know, coming as well. And I pulled it out of the box. It's been used, but it was still very sharp. I went ahead and honed it up a little bit more, and this thing is scary sharp. I mean, you talk about face shaving sharp. No, you put this up to your arm, and the hair gets scared and jumps off the arm. Little RC3, also very awesome little knife. Very, very sharp. Like I said, both are kind of in the medium price range. The RC3 is, well, it's no longer being manufactured, but I mean, you still have the, well, you guys know what took over and what's being made now in place of it. Then on your lower end knives, you've got, like, you know, your Moras. This is the new Mora Robust. Prior to this Robust, I carried a companion in 90% of my videos. It's, you know, $14 knife, but it acts like a $100 knife. Or you've got, you know, the, what is this, the Woodsman 2000 or something like that. It comes in a stainless steel. This thing is also very, very sharp. It's an ugly damn knife. I mean, this thing is god-awful ugly, but you know what? I don't care about looks. I care about performance. As far as performance goes, this thing is a beast. This thing is awesome. It feels great in the hand, comes extremely, extremely sharp, and will take way more of a beating than what people give it credit for. This thing will last a long time. Which one's better? None of them. I mean, each one has its different grinds. Some of them can perform tasks better than other ones. That will split wood a little bit better than, say, that or that. You know, the blade's shorter on this one. It's thinner. This one's a little bit longer. It's fatter. Splits a little bit better. This one cuts thinner strips of meat. Each one has their different purposes. Okay, so then everybody's wanting to talk about the survival knife. The knife that does everything. You know, what are your choices here? Everybody loves this knife right here. Okay, this is the Becker BK2, and you know, it's a good knife. I mean, it's, you know, for 50 bucks, you get a good quality steel on it. The handle on these things, I love the handle. It feels fantastic. The material sucks, but the handle itself feels really, really good. You get a good quality replacement, scales of good material. I mean, this thing just feels really, really good in the hand. Now, as far as performing tasks and things like that, it's a good beater knife, and it's a, you know, it's basically a hatchet, and splits wood like nobody's business. But I tell you what, when it comes to carving and things like that, it's weak. You know, it just doesn't have the good grind for it. But as far as a price-wise, it's got an excellent price tag. What about the pot belly? I mean, this thing is a hunk of steel, if I've ever seen a hunk of steel. Way too big, in my personal preference. But then again, some people like these things. Some people like having this much mass. For those that like to chop wood and baton wood and things like that, this is one of the best ones, man. I mean, you come back out here on the end of this thing and you beat on some wood, it splits it like nobody's business. You can suck up on it and do some finer cuts and everything else, and it actually, you know, it cuts decent, you know, and it does your small and your medium work better, in my opinion, than the BK2. But you know, it's still not the greatest, but some people like it. And then most of you guys know that, you know, it comes with the little piggyback knife, you know, for your smaller tasks or food prep, things like that. Not as good steel, I have no idea what this steel is, but I guarantee it's some sort of stainless, but still kind of a cool little knife. You get into your more expensive ones like the Fallkniven A1, another beast of a knife, or Pathfinder 1 knife, or the PLSK 1. Which one of these is better? You know, again, this one might feel better in another person's hand than this one. Personal preference, I think the PLSK 1 feels fantastic in my hand. Way better than the PLSK 2. The PLSK 2 just feels extremely big and bulky in my hand. It just does not distribute the weight that well. This one, the weight is distributed, the handle's a little bit longer, and it just feels good. It's not to say that the Fallkniven doesn't feel good as well. Just it feels a little hot, and when you start beating on it and working on it and everything else, you know, your hand feels a little sore. Both knives wear your arm out fast, but they're big. They're survival knives. They're built to be beefy. They're built to take a beating. They're built to carve wood, split wood, chop wood, self-defense, food prep, you name it, they're made to do it. Again, it's just a matter of which one feels better in your hands. You got to remember, different handle materials do different things. You know, you put some blood on this micarta and it's a little bit more slippery than the rubber on the Fallkniven. Okay, now here is another one. Hatchets versus tomahawks. You know, which one is better? Some people prefer a hatchet, some people prefer a tomahawk. I prefer a tomahawk. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows why. I'm not saying that the hatchet's bad. I'm just saying, for me personally, the hawk does more. I feel more comfortable with it. I can do more things and better with it. I've got a video out showing just that. You know, that video also shows that obviously this is more comfortable in my hands and I'm able to outperform this, you know, hands down. But let's say that I stop using this and use this one, you know, for as long as I've used this one, and I'm sure I can probably outperform the hawk with this at that point just because I'm more comfortable with it. Again, it's just, you know, it's preference. And then of course your big choppers, you know, your medium to full-size axes. You know, is your axe better than your machete? Depends on where you're at. Take this into a jungle and try to perform. You're not going to get very far. You know, on the other hand, take this into a heavy woodland. It's going to do better than the axe does in the jungle, but you're still going to prefer to have this axe over this. Alright, so, you know, there you have it. What is better? What's the best? It's all good. It's all better. It's all the best. It's personal preference. That's all it ever boils down to. Yes, some things are better materials than others. You got to take into consideration price, all that nonsense. But, you know, there's really no reason for people to get as heated as they do. Man, I've seen people get so heated that, I mean, they start yelling at each other and everything else. These topics are great because it leads, you know, I love this thing, okay? Everybody knows that. Is there other things out there that's better than this? Sure, and I hope to find it. When people say, hey man, this is better than that, they may be right, okay? So I'm going to give it a try. It may be better. I may put this away, okay? I'm not so attached to this that it has any type of sentimental value to me. I use it just because it's better than all this, in my opinion, for the things that I need it for. Am I going to find something better? You bet. Sure, someday I'm going to find something better. I found this, you know, when I was using something else that I thought was better at the time. At one point I thought that this was the greatest thing in the world. I very seldom carry it now. Our tastes change, our priorities change, our needs and our wants change, and when they change, our tools change, plain and simple. So, what is it that I carry now that suits my personal needs? These are the items that I'm carrying right now. For a small cutting tool, I have my multi-tool. I can do just about anything with this thing. Okay? For a medium-sized to large-size knife, right now, I'm going with this Condor, this bush lure. This thing feels really good in my hand, and the little that I've done with it, it does great. I mean, this thing feather sticks, and it's an awesome knife. I love it. I have very little experience with it, but I definitely see myself using this a lot more in the future. I will sub it out quite a bit for my new Mora Robust. Everybody knows how much I like my Mora, and I will also sub it out quite a bit with my Pathfinder 1 because this thing feels really good as well. But you will see this in a lot of my videos. As far as a chopper, you know, I gotta stick with my pipe hawk. This thing has served me well, and I really enjoy this tool. And a new addition is my Woodsman companion pouch. You guys are going to see a lot of videos on this thing, okay? I designed this pouch not just as a fire kit or anything like that. I really wanted to expand this thing, and I want this thing to evolve into a 100% working kit. Not a cheap novelty kit, but a really good kit. And I've got a gentleman that's working on something for this right now that is going to make it very cool, and I think you guys will really enjoy this thing as you see more. So those are the items that I'm carrying now. Okay, now like I've said before, not one item is better than the next. Everybody has a personal preference, everybody has their wants, has their needs, everybody lives in different locations. So when we have these discussions, let's use these discussions to expand our knowledge on these tools rather than, oh no, this one's better because this. When somebody comes to you and says, this one does this, don't look at it as a, I'm right, you're wrong. Look at it like, hey, you know what? This guy might have some knowledge on this tool that I don't. I might want to give this tool a try. This tool may work better than what I think works better. May not, I don't know. But anyway, guys, hope you guys have enjoyed this video or this rant, whatever you want to call it. Guess it really isn't a rant, but anyway, as always, have a good one, guys.